So on this channel, I sort of regularly promise to take you through my journey through the industry as an actor, and that involves when I book work. So let's chat and let me take you through the process of the recent job I did. So firstly, please also subscribe because that does really help me out, and it's really nice to be able to have a bigger audience on here. It's helpful, and also maybe I'll potentially book other work that I might also be able to talk about. So please do follow along, and today I'm not going to obviously be interfering with other people's rehearsal process or sharing confidential material on here, but we can talk about feelings, process, lessons learned, the industry. So let's go. So I booked this job last year, I think. So I booked this job, and it's been nice to be able to know that I've had work coming. And sometimes jobs can be booked really short notice, or you might be waiting up until the last minute to see whether or not you're doing a job. I've had work also that I've been saving the dates for, and then it doesn't work out because that's just sort of the industry. But this one, I've been known it's been happening for a while, and I've done some other sort of theatre work as well, and it's interesting to be able to compare it because I've been paid to do theatre before, but they didn't have loads of funding, so it was a very condensed rehearsal process. It was a very different project stylistically. It was a lot of focus on presenting real people, about accents, and it was all quite technical, whereas this one is more about exploring themes through a rehearsal process and exploring the story. And I was here in this rehearsal process more partly as sort of a traineeship with the company, which a few different companies do, especially when it's more work in sort of non-traditional theatre environments, if it's theatre in education or theatre in prisons or that kind of thing. They often have traineeships where you can sort of learn the process and the way of a company, because it's a practice to be able to take theatre in those kind of settings and to have those kind of conversations. So it's not just about the acting. So I was there as a traineeship, but I was also there not as part of the main cast. I was there to understudy. So that was interesting in itself, because I think I know factually what that means, but learning what that means in practice is a whole entirely different thing, because it requires a lot of focus to be able to take into account the blocking and all of the notes that you're hearing other people be getting. And I don't know how every single understudy or cover rehearsal process works. I know some people have their own track in a show, and then they're also covering a bigger track, but it's so interesting because I don't think you realise until you actually do it the extent to which you are not getting that muscle memory in. You are having to focus and remember what the role involves. I filmed partway through my contract, and I can't even remember what I said, but I'll insert that clip now. So I'm home from day 2 of rehearsals for a paid job, which I feel is important to keep remembering, because sometimes I'm thinking this opportunity can lead me to more work, and when I put it on my spotlight, it will give me more opportunities and it will help me progress my career. But realistically, rewind, pause for a second, calm down. I am being paid to be part of a rehearsal process, which is something that I always would want to be doing. And every time I get the opportunity for that, instead of thinking ahead too much and thinking, how can I use this, life is good. I'm being paid to do that. I think about that sometimes when I'm in the room. I'm being paid to do this today. Life is good, and I think it's important to always enjoy that and not just think, what can I do once this opportunity is finished? Who can I email? Who can I let know that I'm a working actor? Sometimes it's important to remember and always really, really value what you have as well. And it's really interesting because I think obviously I learn about the industry alongside the craft of acting when I'm in classes, and I have some really useful industry knowledge from that, and I've learned a lot from that. But then also you learn about fine details of like how things can actually happen in the professional world when you're actually in the room. And like, I'm understudying and I've not done that before and I don't know loads about it, so seeing how the rehearsal process works for that and like comparing this experience to like the fact that I've done a lot of short films recently is really interesting, because like in short films you often don't really have a rehearsal process, so you might get the scripts potentially. Lots of these short films I'm hearing confirmation that I'm doing it like the day before, and then I'm prepping the scenes, and then you spend like 2 hours on a scene and then that's done. But this is theatre, so we have rehearsals and we talk about things and we talk about the themes and we talk a lot and share stories and apply it to the real world, and that's really fascinating. I feel like that very early stage of a contract, for me anyway, is very much defined by like getting used to the rehearsal room, getting used to like a different team that you're working with. Like I find that on short films actually, like I've done a lot of one-day shoots recently, but compared to like having multiple days on set, you then relax into it a bit more and you understand the rhythm of different people who are working around you, and like that allows you to be able to relax into it a bit more. I think once you get the initial like meeting people out of the way, then you're able to just really enjoy all the moments of the contract, because I think an underrated part is that sort of downtime as well that you get with new professionals in the industry, and you get to speak to people and get to know people and you learn so much from that. And here's a clip as well on the last day of my contract. I feel like I could have covered a bit more footage throughout this, but the fact is that if you're doing a bit of work, you'll also be taping for other projects. Like I feel like as soon as you get a piece of work, suddenly tapes for everything else start appearing, and it's just been a beautiful time on this contract. Like this is why I like to be in this industry. I had a great time. It was sort of a trial run of the show that we did, because I've seen actually that lots of different things have been doing this. Like if there's a large section of audience interaction and engagement as part of a show, people do trial runs with various different groups and stuff. So it was really interesting to be able to see how that panned out, and I feel like doing a job, you learn how that job actually functions, and you learn about different directors, different ways rehearsal rooms work, and every job is slightly different with that. And I feel like that's something that might be quite obvious, but also it's something that you sort of really truly experience and learn from with each different group and company that you work with. So I'm feeling incredibly grateful. I had a great time. So I feel like I took a lot away from this experience, and also the generosity of people I worked with in like sharing information and advice and guiding me to different places is really useful moving forward. It's a nice new like credit and new experience that I can put on future applications. And also I think now I've really tried to get my act together with like post-contract admin, because I think something that's useful is being able to use that momentum to be contacting people and be like, I've got this additional experience, and like being able to reach out and show people that you're active in the industry, and hopefully reconnect with people who you've previously been seen by, who are like, update me if you do any more work. Like I think it's easy to then forget to do that, so I'm trying to make sure I do the outreach when I have new stuff to say. I feel like I'm still reflecting on what I've learned, and I just had a great time. Like I think it had some really interesting themes to explore, and I think something that I think is really great as actors is that we're able to really explore real life topics in a way that doesn't like confront people. Like we're not fighting people, but we're just really thinking about themes and things that go on in the real world for real people. And I think I really learned the power in being able to just have those open, honest conversations and being able to explore those more like difficult themes And then to be able to take that to audiences, I think, is something that the arts can do in a way that is harder to do otherwise in life. So I love that. It's such a medium to be able to present stuff that goes on in the world and allow people to explore that and make up their own minds on things. So what a great industry and opportunity we have with this. So that's how that experience has been. If you have understudied or covered anything, let me know what that's like for you. Let's chat about different contracts and different work in the comments. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. Thank you so much to everyone for like the support on here. Thank you and goodbye. Hopefully see you in some videos very soon.